Man, oh man, these rumors are starting to come in at a very fast pace. We had a little bit of a break during the holiday season as the gaming industry really did kind of just shut down. It was as if there was a calm before the storm. And let me just say that so far there's been a lot of activity from Xbox and a bunch of insiders that are saying Xbox is going to be going crazy in 2021. And it's not just a couple of people talking about this, it's a lot of insiders and even developers discussing Xbox's massive presence in the gaming market. Which brings me to this huge rumor that a lot of people have been messaging me about, which is that Xbox could be working on a deal for 2 games from LucasFilm Games. And apparently this isn't just about the Indiana Jones game that Machine Games is working on. This could be a potential 2 new games or 1 new game from the LucasFilm IPs that are extremely popular. Now I know the first IP everyone is going to ask about is Star Wars, and I already have some idea of what they could be making with that IP. But again, I want to be sure that we all know this is a rumor, but it's a rumor from someone that's been right before and has a pretty decent track record. Either way, we know that Xbox is looking into multiple teams and games that have invested a lot of money to have their Xbox ecosystem stand out. And we know that they've reached out to WB Games for their studios but fell through. Basically, we know that Microsoft and Xbox are on a spending spree and aren't afraid to spend money on a lot of IPs and games that will draw people to their service, Xbox Game Pass. So let's get into this article and see what is said and also see what insiders have said, because I find this to be a pretty big rumor and it could be something that changes the way people look at Xbox Game Pass, especially with potential exclusive Star Wars games or Indiana Jones games. So let's get into this. But first, like always, if you liked the video, hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. Alright, let's get straight into this article because there's a lot to cover, but I do have to say, again, this is just a rumor and also this is being translated over to English. So the writing might be a little bit off, but it's good enough to understand. Here's what the article title says. LucasFilm Games may be carrying out agreement with Microsoft to bring 2 games. The Xbox Series X S appears to have more arrows in its bow, with at least 2 major unannounced games scheduled for 2021 and also a possible exclusive deal with Lucasfilm Games. Now, the first thing to talk about is that they're talking about 2 games from Microsoft that revolves around the Lucasfilm Games. That to me is a huge deal because we already know that Xbox has announced over 30 Xbox exclusive games for 2021 alone. And that doesn't count the other DLC coming from Forza or the other games from Bethesda that we don't know about. We'll get those games announced and shown once the deal with ZeniMax is all tied up and finished. Which brings me to this Lucasfilm Games. I have a feeling that some of the studios Xbox has now with Bethesda will be working with Lucasfilms on certain Star Wars IPs or other IPs from that umbrella. But the rumors and the potential of other games doesn't stop there. Here's what the article had to say about multiple insiders and industry leaders had to say about Xbox. We recently saw the list with all the exclusives that will come out in 2021 for the Xbox Series X, S, but apparently that doesn't tell the whole story planned for this year. On the other hand, it is also normal for this to be the case, since it is unlikely that on January 15, it'll be possible to declare the lecture closed in relation to all the innovations planned for the coming year. As it appeared earlier, therefore, the Xbox has other games not yet announced coming in 2021, as we've already reported based on the testimony of a developer from DICE, but another testimony in this regard also comes from Jez Corden. The Windows Central reporter reported in the course of an episode of Xbox 2 podcast that he is aware of the fact that at least 2 great games are coming from the Xbox in 2021, but still have no precise release date. Now, we all know Jez Corden, who is very reliable source when it comes to information in the gaming industry, especially when it comes to Xbox as a platform. He's talked about certain things and has been right on most of the things that Xbox has done in the last several years. So when he's on a podcast talking about 2 great games that are coming in 2021, we have to pay attention. And it's great that this coincides with the rumor of Microsoft trying to grab 2 games from Lucasfilm Games. Like I've said multiple times before, people, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And with this new IPs and everything happening, it makes sense that this rumor might actually be true. I mean, we've even had developers from DICE talking about Xbox out of nowhere, saying they're going to be out on a bunch of games, and that they're basically everywhere trying to grab as many games as they can for their platform, which we know that platform is Xbox Game Pass. So we know that Xbox needs to buy new IPs or buy studios and buy a bunch of things so they can put content on Game Pass to make it a service that everybody wants to be on. That's the whole premise of what Xbox is trying to do. They're trying to get people onto their platform, and the only way to do that is to get big IPs and big games consistently on the service. But now let's get into the rumor and where it originated from. Here's what the article had to say. To these rumors, we can add another one. Ed from Xbox Era, an insider who has proven to be quite reliable in some previous releases, said during an episode of his podcast that Microsoft seems to be in discussion with Lucasfilm Games for something, which apparently it would be the Indiana Jones previously announced game, but another intellectual property. Therefore, there could be an exclusive agreement between Lucasfilm Games and Microsoft for another title belonging to the LucasArts universe. When this rumor came out and people asked me about it, I instantly wanted to believe it. Because who doesn't want more Star Wars games, and who doesn't want to see their favorite properties get even more attention, especially Star Wars? And after Jedi Fallen Order, I have to admit that I really need more games like that, set in the Star Wars universe. And that's what I think Xbox is going for. I think that the Indiana Jones game was already in the works before Xbox even acquired ZeniMax, because that's a game that Machine Games is going to be working on. And if we remember, Machine Games has been working on a new game for the last 3 years. I have a feeling it's Wolfenstein 3, and then the new Indiana Jones game is going to come out soon after that. But as for the other studios who could work on the Star Wars game, the article gives a hint at what they would like to see. Here's what is said. The thought immediately runs to Knights of the Old Republic, considering that Obsidian is now a part of Xbox Game Studios. However, it is difficult for the team to have the chance to work on it too, considering the countless projects it is undertaking between Avowed, Grounded, The Outer Worlds, and 3 other projects. Among the possibilities, there is also another fascinating hypothesis, that it could be the return of one of LucasArts' historic graphic adventures and thrusted to Double Fine. But obviously these are just assumptions about absolutely uncontrolled rumors. So the first thing I can think of and I hope happens is Knights of the Old Republic. That game, along with the sequel, are some of the best, if not the best Star Wars games ever made, bar none. And it would make too much sense for Xbox to really invest in a massive Star Wars game with a talented studio like Obsidian. And we know they're working on Avowed and The Outer Worlds, but there's also a rumor that they're working on 6 games currently. 3 of them being AAA and the other 3 being smaller titles like Grounded. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that they're working on a game like that. The other studios might be from Bethesda, who again have some of the biggest studios in the world. I have a feeling that someone from there can make a brand new Star Wars game, we just don't know the studio. We already know that studios within Xbox have multiple teams, and that's the same with Bethesda Studios. They have a lot of people working there and a lot of studios with multiple teams, not to mention they're making new studios in San Diego along with other locations around the world where they are trying to get footholds for talented developers. Either way, I hope this rumor is true, and from what we've seen with Lucasfilm Games and how they're putting all their properties out there, I wouldn't be surprised if Xbox does lock down a new Star Wars game or some other game from a wealth of IPs in the Lucasfilm's umbrella. And yes, I do have to mention that Sony's PlayStation could be a company that locks a deal down with Lucasfilms. We know that Sony and PlayStation isn't shy with spending a lot of money on a massive IP with a good studio. They did it with Insomniac and Spider-Man, and I'm almost certain they wouldn't mind spending more money on a big franchise like Star Wars. So expect the bidding war for IPs and games to happen. I personally hope for Knights of the Old Republic or a Mandalorian game. I have a feeling that Xbox really needs a big third-person action-adventure game, and why not put that in Star Wars? I understand that Indiana Jones is most likely going to be third-person and a big action-adventure game, but I really want to see a Knights of the Old Republic sequel or a reboot of the game and give it to a studio that understands RPGs. Maybe inXile is working on this. We just don't know. Everything is very preemptive and it's in the beginning stages of production, so I'm excited to see where this goes, but I also want to know exactly what Xbox and Microsoft are working on and what they're really trying to achieve for Xbox Game Pass. But enough of what I think about this, tell me what you think about this. What IP do you want Xbox to lock down? Is it just the Indiana Jones games they're talking about? Will Xbox get an exclusive Star Wars game? Is the Knights of the Old Republic actually coming back? Would this really push the Xbox Series X console to new heights? How many IPs could Xbox lock down? What studio is going to make this game? Is it going to be first party or third party deals? Would you want a Jedi game or a Mandalorian game? Do you think that Xbox is going to hire a third-party developer to make these games? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamer tag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. Right now, I'm playing a lot of X-Morph Defense. that game is insane. I'm really liking it. It's a twin stick shooter meets tower defense, and it's a lot of fun. You actually have to strategize a lot around the world in the map, and then you just use a lot of your abilities, and you have to know how to slow down the enemy. It's just a lot of fun, and the destructible environment is insane on that game. I've also been playing the Telltale Batman game because I haven't played that yet, and I'm on the last episode and really enjoying the story. You all know I'm a comic book fan, so I'm really enjoying that, and I've been reading a lot of comics, so I'm kind of feeling the comic book side of things, and Batman is my favorite. And I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty, obviously. You can see the footage here. I have a lot of it. I love that game. It's a lot of fun. The multiplayer, the zombies, the single player, everything about it. I'm playing all 3 phases, and it's just a lot of fun and a great game. I think this Call of Duty was done very well. It's optimized well on the Series X, and I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, let me know what you're playing. Go down below. Are you working on games on your PS5, your Xbox Series X, your PC? Are you playing any of the new games that have come out, or are you working through your backlog? Let me know down below, and also let me know what game you're looking forward to coming out. Maybe I missed one, and I just want to see what everybody's excited to play. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.